This is the time of year when the Nobel Prize winner for literature is announced, which is very exciting for anyone who reads books, and presumably you do because you're watching this book-related podcast. So today we're talking about the history of the Nobel Prize. We're going to go through the entire list of winners.
Okay.
Everyone's favorite type of episode where we go through a giant list and we go, we haven't read half of this.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, you guys need to read more, which is always fun.
I did bring a stack of Nobel winners that I have read.
Fantastic.
There were a handful, in the list that I was looking through. Some that I have read that I just didn't bring, but
yeah, I perused it quickly. It's an interesting mix. But we'll get into it. But first, we'll start with our weekly reading update. So, what have you been reading?
Well, before we get started, real quick, I do just want to give quick shout out, send my thoughts out to our friend of the program, Rick Harsh.
Yeah, good call.
Just terrible news. Started circulating through the Bookstagram online book space last night that Rick suffered a stroke and at least at the time of this recording is currently in a coma.
Today is Sunday, October 19th, and I think the news kind of started to float around Friday maybe.
I remember hearing about it yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
So
I don't really know. We don't have too much more information at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't have any details beyond what I just said, but
yeah,
one way or the other, just terrible news.
My first inclination is like, everybody go order a book to support Rick, but he's the main man behind the show, so obviously,
obviously there's some complications there. Also, I'm not 100% sure on this. I believe just because of everything going on with the current state of the world, Corona Samizdat is not shipping to the U.S.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either.
So, I don't know really many other ways to at least financially support Rick and the press right now.
Yeah.
But at the very least, send your thoughts and well wishes his way.
Yeah. Yep. I would say just go peruse Corona Samizdat's website and make yourself a little list in the event that we can support him by reading some of the books they print. So, Anyway, on a more positive note, what have you been reading?
Nothing new since last week. Still chipping away at Shadow Ticket by Tommy Ruggles and Europe Central by Billy Volman.
Billy Volman, Europe Central. About halfway through myself.
Okay, so you are further ahead than me.
I'm sticking with the schedule.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a massively researched book.
Yes.
But it's cool because I know a good amount about World War II, but there's a lot in there that I'm learning.
Right.
So he's kind of dissecting some real life characters that just you don't hear about that often. So
yeah, and I really appreciate that for as much as it takes place during World War II, and certainly the war is kind of the backdrop of everything that's happening and the political tensions caused by the war. It's not, at least not all of the narrative. It's not necessarily about the war.
Yeah.
It's about the people that are living in these countries, primarily Soviet Russia and Germany during the war.
Yeah.
And kind of experiencing the, I guess, tension, so to speak, of living in a country like Soviet Russia during the war. But it's funny. I kind of keep thinking back about this, and I don't mean to necessarily throw anybody under the bus, but I do know that I saw like a post about someone that decided it wasn't for them.
Yep.
And chose to DNF the book, but was talking about how, like, to them, all of the characters were just cardboard. And I've been reading them like, are we reading the same book?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
But
I don't agree. I mean, if the book's not for you, totally fine.
Right, absolutely.
And I could understand why it wouldn't be for everybody, because it is maximalist for sure.
Right.
There's stuff that you could have taken out if you wanted to and maintained the general premise and ideas. I think about that Wall Street Journal article where they interviewed William Vollmann, and I think the title of it was like The Last Untamed American Author or something like that, and kind of talked about how he does a lot of things that you're not supposed to do in writing, and tell and not show, which I'm big on. Like, I'm big on show and not tell, but he actually, in my opinion, makes it work.
Right.
He's does seem kind of unapologetic in the maximalist nature of it. And I guess even at times for me, I'm like, okay, this is a little much, but I think my appreciation of the amount of research that went into it it overcomes that, okay, this is a little dry, or this part's kind of a little bit longer than it needed to be, because the prose is really good as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if we talked about it before on the show, but this is something that we talked about quite a bit just in the club on Discord and during the live calls, is like, he really kind of sparingly uses these very incredible sentences, and they come at times when you don't necessarily expect them. So you're reading a bit of something that's a little bit more academic, and then it hits you with this very poetic line.
Yes.
And it just really adds a lot of emphasis to them.
I was noticing that recently. It's been a couple days since I picked it up. You know, I've had stuff going on, but when I was doing a lot of reading the other night, and like same as you, we'll mark stuff and flag pages and things like that. And I don't know about you, but sometimes with an author like Vollmann, who is excuse me, so frequently praised for the quality of his writing and his prose, sometimes kind of expect myself that, like, with these sections I'm gonna annotate and flag, almost kind of expect like they're gonna be these like long paragraphs or longer passages, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever sentences. And then I noticed like there were a handful in a row that were just like 2 lines at the most.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, it's just kind of this, like, the passage itself, not necessarily like flat, but kind of routine.
Yeah.
And then they'll just like drop that one line, and it's just like, God damn, dude,
Yeah.
that's heavy.
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And I think that he does make the kind of tell and not show work in this instance. So obviously it's a big book, still got about 300 or so pages to go. So we'll see. But so far I'm really enjoying it. So
Yeah, I'm hoping to crank out a lot of it this afternoon.
cool. I did finish up in between today and our last episode, The Land at the End of the World by Antonio Lobo Antunes. Fantastic. Highly recommend that book if you have not read it. And I started, but I'm maybe only 30 or 40 pages into Season of Migration to the North by Taib Salih. He's an African author. It was translated from Arabic by Dennis Johnson Davies, and the Antunes was translated by Margaret Jewel Costa from Portuguese, obviously. Yeah, this is good. It's considered like a pretty prominent work of African literature.
Nice.
Like I said, I'm only 30 or 40 pages in, but so far it's good. So,
Sweet.
Okay, let's talk about the Nobel Prize for Literature. Kind of considered, I would say, like the biggest prize that an author can win.
I think that's fair.
I know that we've there's a couple people that are followers of the Life on Books sphere that say that it's an indication that someone's not a good writer. I think we have had people comment.
Interesting.
So the first prize went in 1901. So I'm just going to go through the list. We're probably not going to know a lot of these names, especially early on. And then if we are familiar with their work or anything, we could just comment on it. But it's funny because I'm trying to actually working on kind of a small side project of reading one book from every year of the 20th century. And the early 20th century, like the first decade or so, is pretty sparse as far as works that really stood the test of time. Like when you search for the best book of 1902 or whatever,
Right.
there's like nothing. It's not a huge list that people are like, you got to read these ones. So these first few names a lot of these are completely new to me. So 1901 was Sully Prudhomme from France. Are you familiar with him?
Nope.
Okay. 1902 was Theodor Mommsen from Germany. All right. 1903, Bjornstern Bjornson from Norway. This guy's got a
Bjorn.
sick hairdo.
Nice.
I'll have to drop in a photo of that. You guys, you might be able to see it on this camera. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to go read some of his books just because of his hair. That's cool on Wikipedia too, just as a note. This is the list I'm looking at. It gives the citation of kind of why they were chosen.
Nice.
In 1904, Frederick Mistral from France. That name sounds familiar to me, but I haven't read any of his works. He wrote poetry and philosophy, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me, philology.
How
Jose
is philology?
Philology is, let me just read the Wikipedia thing so I don't F this up. The study of language in oral and written historical sources.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was two winners in 1904. That's weird. Jose Echegaray from Spain. He wrote dramas. I assume that's like plays. 1905, Henryk Sienkiewicz from Poland.
I've heard that name.
That's weird because I definitely did not pronounce it right. I love this. The citation is because of his outstanding merits as an epic writer. It's like,
nice.
I mean, yeah, doesn't that kind of apply to all these people? Not a very diverse list, let me say. So far, just white dudes.
It picks up as we get into the later half of the 20th century, I believe.
1906, Giosuè Carducci from Italy for poetry. And 1907 is the first name that not only have I recognized, but I've read some of. Rudyard Kipling from the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Probably his most famous work is The Boots poem, which was recently kind of made a resurgence thanks to the terrible movie 28 Years Later. 1908, Rudolf Christoph Eucken from Germany. Familiar with him. Another philosophy or a philosophy person. 1909, we have our first lady, Selma Lagerlöf from Sweden. She wrote novels and short stories.
Okay. And
this is interesting. In appreciation of lofty idealism, vivid imagination, and spiritual perception that characterizes her writing. Paul von Hesse from Germany for 1910. No, nothing. Okay. Maurice Maeterlinck from Belgium in 1911. Graham Hauptmann from Germany, 1912. It's a very kind of Europe Central type of list here.
Yeah.
1913 was Rabindranath Tagore from India.
Okay.
And he wrote poetry, novels, dramas, short stories, essays, and translations. And then 1914, there was no award. I wonder why that is. 1915, Roman Roland from France.
No.
1916, Werner von Haldelstam from Sweden. 1917 also had two winners, both from Denmark, which seems a little suspect to me. Carl Adolf Gellerup and Heinrich Pontoppidan. Man, I'm getting slaughtered on these pronunciations here. You looking up why there wasn't one?
Yeah, World War I.
That's kind of was my first thought, but it's felt a little early.
Yeah.
But anyway. 1918 was not awarded. Was that for the same reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably. I mean, the war was
I mean, it's weird
14
though.
to 19, give or take.
Right, but it's like they had it in 15 and 16 and 17. So
I don't know, man. I'm not on the committee.
1919 was Karl Spittler from Switzerland. 1920, finally another name that I know, Newt Hampson from Norway.
Okay.
Have you read anything from him?
No, I'm familiar with the name. Have not read any of his.
I have
books.
2 of his books. I have Hunger and I have I forget the other one, but I haven't read them yet. But
I remember I heard the name, or someone like posted about one of his books or something like that.
yeah,
And it just happened that later that day or shortly after seeing that, I was at the bookstore, and I saw a couple of his books, and they sounded interesting. It was just more than there was more than I was willing to pay.
yeah. He's one of the authors that comes up a lot in like the separating the art from the artist discussion because he was an ardent Nazi. So
Okay.
yeah. But supposedly fantastic writer, and of course, he is no longer benefiting from you reading his books. So do so with no guilty conscience. 1921, Anatole France, from France. Was a novelist. Jacinto Benavente from Spain for 1922. William Butler Yeats from Ireland in 23. I have not read anything from him, but obviously he's
Pretty sure that's pronounced Yates.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Learn something new every day. I've been saying it wrong my whole life. 1924 was Vladislav Raymond from Poland. And 1925, another author that most people will probably be familiar with, George Bernard Shaw.
Okay.
Have you read anything from him?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I've read some of his essays, I think in college, but I definitely have not read any of his books. Did he even write books, or was he more of a playwright? Anyway,
I'm the wrong person to ask.
we need Krista here. She knows
right.
She knows all about him.
We just need to have her like on speed dial when we're recording.
Yeah, people loved that last episode. So 1926, Grazia Delata from Italy. Hopefully we're going to get into some more names here that we know.
Yeah.
We're still in the 20s. So Henry Bergson from France in 27. Sigrid Undset from Norway/Denmark in 28. Thomas Mann in 1929. Have you read anything from Thomas Mann?
I don't believe I have.
So,
I have at least one of his books.
yeah, he wrote Magic Mountain, right?
Yeah.
I think that's his most famous.
Brooks.
Yeah, I've yet to read anything from him, but I heard he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Sinclair Lewis for 1930. I believe this is the first American citizen on the list.
Sounds right.
I have It Can't Happen Here by him, but I have not read it yet.
I definitely haven't read any Lewis.
Trying to think of what else. 1931, Eric Axel Karlfeldt from Sweden. And by the way, if you guys have read any of these people's works and you have recommendations, drop them below, especially those that first decade, because I need to fill in the blanks for my 20th century project, and I don't really know where to start with some of those. 1932 was John Galsworthy from the UK. 33 was Ivan Bunin, stateless. He was born in the Russian Empire, but he was stateless. That's interesting. Luigi Pirandello from Italy for 34. Eugene O'Neill for 36 from the United States. I don't know who that is, do you? Roger Martin Dugard from France for 37. And 1938 was the first American woman, Pearl Buck. I have read The Good Earth, which is good. I know a lot of people that listen have read Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. If you like that book, you'd probably really like The Good Earth. I liked Pachinko a lot, but then I read The Good Earth after, and I was like, oh, this was, I don't want to say derivative, but it was, you could tell there was like, it seemed like there was some pretty clear influence.
Pachinko influenced by The Good Earth.
Yeah. What's interesting about Pearl Buck is The Good Earth is about some Chinese peasants in kind of like pre-communist China. And at first I was like, oh, an American writing about this seems a little weird. And then I read about Pearl Buck going into the book, and she actually pretty much grew up in China. Her parents were missionaries. So the story was pretty pretty heavily influenced by her firsthand experience. What's funny about that, though, is like at the time the book came out, it was considered very progressive. But like now, I think people are like, oh, she shouldn't have written what she did and blah, blah, blah. So it's just kind of funny how people like look at it from a more modern lens. But you have to take into context the time it was written. 1939, Franz Emil Silanpa, definitely saying that wrong, from Finland. Johannes Wilhelm Jensen from Denmark in 44. Gabriela Mistral, 1945, from Chile. Hermann Hesse from Germany/Switzerland in 1946. Have you read anything from him?
No.
Really?
I've not.
Oh.
I have 2 of his books, I think.
Yeah, I've heard...
I might just have 2 copies of Siddhartha. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of in our circle of the internet hype that one up quite a bit. I read Demian, which is really good. It's funny because I think he was really inspired or influenced by Carl Jung. And that was the book that he wrote kind of after his Jungian transformation.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of Jung's philosophy or kind of psychology, but I did think the writing in the book was quite good. So, and all of his books are pretty short.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I don't know off the top of my head if I have 2 different books or just 2 copies of Siddhartha.
Yeah.
But I know at least one of the books that I have, it is Siddhartha, and it's the novel itself, and then the last like third or quarter or so of the book is the Buddhist text that kind of influenced, or at least a section of the Buddhist writing that influenced him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Like he has a book that about Buddhism, then he's got a book about Jungian kind of philosophy or psychology.
My knowledge of Carl Jung is even less than my knowledge of Hermann Hesse. So
fair enough. You know who's a big Carl Jung fan is our buddy Jordan B. Peterson. So we definitely love him here. 1948, Thomas Stearns Eliot from the United Kingdom. 49, William Faulkner.
okay.
So obviously a very influential American author, as we've talked about. I read some of his work in high school, but I remember almost none of it. I couldn't even tell. I want to say I read As I Lay Dying, but I'm not sure. And this book that I just finished, The Land at the End of the World by Antonio Lobo Antunes, one of the critics that blurbed it or commented on it in the back here. Who was it? I'm blanking on who it was. Oh yeah, George Steiner. Was a pretty famous literary critic. It says heir to Conrad, as in Joseph Conrad, or Faulkner.
Yeah.
So
I've heard the comparisons to Faulkner for Antunes.
Yeah. I couldn't exactly tell you because again, I don't really recall, but the writing is quite strong in that book. 1950, Bertrand Russell. You read anything from him?
Maybe. I feel like I don't remember which book. I feel like I read some of his writing, but definitely not like a full book.
Yeah, I've read a bunch of his essays. I have a copy of Logic Comics. I forget who wrote it, but it's a graphic novel about him.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Which is cool. Buddy from the book club loves it, and Marcia is the one that gave it to me. Why I'm Not Christian. I've read that. Man, this guy wrote so much. Holy crap. Yeah, I've read
Why I'm Not Christian. That's one that I don't know if I even still have it, but I think I read like some of it.
Yeah. 1951 was Par Lagerqvist from Sweden. 52, Francois Mauriac from France. This is surprising. 1953, your buddy, Winston Churchill.
Really?
Yeah. history, essay, and memoir. So I guess I'm not like shocked that Churchill wrote. Little surprised that he was a
Nobel Prize winner.
Nobel Prize winner. But then again, Obama won the Peace Prize the year that he drone struck more people than ever before in
Daily.
history.
Yeah.
Obviously, Donald Trump didn't win, but people thought that he might, and then the winner thanked him.
Yeah.
So who knows, right? Who knows? I'm trying to think. Okay, so 1953 was when Churchill won. So he was not PM at that point in time, I don't think, because he had two runs. One was during World War
I don't
II.
remember at all.
And oh yeah, I'll have to look into it, but that is just a little surprising to me, but whatever. 1954, Ernest Hemingway.
Okay.
Well deserving, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Extremely influential. What have you read from Hemingway?
The Sun Also Rises.
My least favorite book. Yep.
The Old Man in the Sea.
Yep.
I didn't finish it, but I read a good chunk of A Farewell to Arms.
Yeah. That is of what I've read, my favorite.
Yeah. It was before I was really like big into reading.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh, Hemingway.
Yeah.
Cool. And it was, like I said, before I really got into reading, I hadn't learned to avoid introductions at that point.
Yep. Or to read them after.
Right. And especially with a book that's been around for almost a century.
Yeah.
The introduction that I read kind of spoiled at least, maybe not the conclusion of the book, but the conclusion of one of the characters. So that kind of bummed me out, but I kept reading. And then I just found, I vaguely remember one of the characters or the relationship between two of the characters just really obnoxious. Which again, I've commented on before, like sometimes that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I know how this ends. I don't really like reading about this character. So
Your motivation was low.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I was I'm pretty sure I was, I might have been in college at that point. And I was just like,
Okay.
Had picked it up from the library.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I mean, I could kind of read this book that I'm not really enjoying and I know how it ends. Or I could go tailgating with my friends.
Yeah.
So
I've read all those and some of his short stories. And I need to reread For Whom the Bell Tolls,
yeah.
because similar to you, when I was kind of getting back into reading fiction as an adult, kind of like you go through like you mentioned last week, you Google like 100
Right.
best books or whatever. And my kind of mindset was I did read a lot of classics in high school and a little bit in college. And then I felt like there were some ones that were the real big names that everyone should read type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to kind of start to go through and check some of those off. And I hadn't read For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I was not at all connected to the reading community whatsoever at this point. And I went on Amazon and I bought For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I saw that there was 1 million editions, right? It's a book that's been reprinted 1,000 times. And I just ordered like the cheapest one.
Yeah.
And it came and I read it and I thought, this book is terrible. And I didn't understand any of it. It was very confusing. And then I forget who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody about it. And it came to my attention that like the book that I had read was maybe like 180 pages. And someone's
Yeah.
like, no, that book's like 400 pages long.
Yeah. Did you get like an abridged version?
And I got an abridged copy, and it did say it, but it was like in tiny
Yeah.
little print. And it was just one of because books that are not under copyright anymore, people will reprint them, do like
Right.
print on demand stuff just to like make some quick cash. on like an Amazon store, and yeah, so I need to actually like reread it.
Yeah.
Because the abridgment of it was not good. You know, Hemingway's an interesting one for me because I do like most of what I've read from him. I hated The Sun Also Rises. I absolutely hated it. As I've said 1,000 times, it is 1920 Seinfeld without the comedy.
Yeah. I like I said, I think that was probably around the same time that I read Farewell to Arms, or attempted a Farewell to Arms.
Yeah.
And I vaguely remember liking it enough. Sun Also Rises, that is.
Yeah.
Liking it enough. I have a feeling probably if I went back and read it now, it wouldn't really do much for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, I do remember that like nothing really happens.
Right. And that's kind of what it's about. It's about like the aimlessness of the post-war.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, sometimes I enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't really remember much about the writing itself. I mean, it's been almost a decade since I read it. So
yeah.
Maybe I would benefit from picking it back up again, but who knows?
I really enjoyed A Farewell to Arms. And I really do. One thing that I think is kind of crazy about Hemingway is like, you know, his writing. When you read it, you know it's him. And even other really, really good writers, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You're like, this is fantastic, but this could be Steinbeck or whoever.
I do remember really liking The Old Man and the Sea.
Yeah, I think I read that in high school as well. I definitely need to revisit it, which I mean, I should just like do today because it's
a short one. You could
it's
easily
100
read it in a
pages.
day.
Yeah.
I think I probably read it in like 2 days.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to 1955. Halldór Laxness from Iceland.
Oh wow, that was. I mean, I knew he had won the Nobel Prize. I didn't realize it was
that long ago. Yeah, when I saw him, I kind of like briefly perused the list before today's episode, and I same thing. I thought he was a little bit later on. 1956 was Juan Ramon Jimenez from Spain.
Okay.
1957, Albert Camus.
Okay.
Which we've both read, The Stranger.
Yeah.
I've read some of his essays. I haven't really read that much of his work, but he was born in Algeria.
Yeah. I read about half of The Plague, give or take.
Is that fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Okay.
Very allegorical.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Camus great, but also kind of like one of those authors that I feel like there's a big list of authors and books that when people get into literature, they never really like go beyond that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in his work, because obviously I haven't really with his work, but it's like, yeah, I've read Tolstoy and Dostoevsky and Hemingway or whatever, and then they kind of just never like see what else is beyond that.
Absolutely.
And not that, I mean, you could spend a whole lifetime reading the kind of big name classics. They're classics for a reason. But as we've talked about before, there's a lot of books and authors that just, the names haven't stood the test of time, not because of the poor quality of the writing, but for other circumstances or reasons. So
yeah, at some point, I would probably like to read more of his essays.
Yeah,
I remember feeling kind of neutral about The Stranger.
There's a lot of subtext in it.
Yeah.
So as a story, it's like fine.
Yeah.
But if you're not really like understanding the underlying philosophy, it can be a little.
And that's why I would like to read more of his essays.
Yeah.
Is to get more of the philosophical side of things.
Yeah.
Versus the narrative side of it. With The Stranger, I feel like it's one of those books that obviously profound when it was published and when it was being like widely read by lots of people. After another 50 years of books that have been published, and I'm sitting here in 2025 reading it, I've read plenty of other books that kind of at least touch on the same kind of thematic ideas of the sort of absurdity of life.
Yeah.
That just have a better narrative.
Yeah.
And then so you go read something like The Stranger, which frankly the narrative's kind of like you said, it's kind of a background to the philosophical ideas he's trying to get at.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything particularly special about the writing. And so it's one of those ones, at least for me, where I was reading, I was like, yeah, life is kind of absurd and inherently doesn't really have a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
I know that already.
Yeah.
Like the book's not really
It's not moving the needle for you.
right.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich or whatever.
By Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah, about the life of a prisoner in a Russian work camp. I'm sure when the book was published, it was a lot of groundbreaking kind of revelations about how miserable and grueling life in a Soviet prison camp was.
Yeah.
I read that book in 2022.
Yeah, everyone knows about gulags at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
That was kind of like common knowledge. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, it sucked. It's about what I expected it was going to be.
Yeah.
So it didn't really move the needle as much.
If you want a mind-blowing read about gulags, The Aquariums of Pyongyang.
Yeah.
It's about North Korean gulags. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Probably worse than the Soviet ones, to be honest. Okay. 1958, Boris Pasternak from the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Not familiar with that name, are you?
I've heard the name. I haven't read any of his books. Don't have any.
1959, Salvatore Quasimodo from Italy. Quasimodo, what a name, huh? So he was nominated for won for his poetry. 1960, St. John Perse from France. 1961, Ivo Andrić from Yugoslavia. So I have two of his books.
Okay.
The Bridge on the Drina is his most famous one. I've not read it yet, but I really need to. It's crazy how much people hype that book up and how much people argue over it.
Really?
Yeah, because like Yugoslavia,
Yeah.
and now that it's more defined countries, people argue about like who gets to claim him as their author. So, but yeah. And then 1962, my boy, Jay Steinbeck.
Nice.
Yep. Obviously, we've both read John
Yep.
Steinbeck's books.
Yep.
I don't know if we need to really go down a list of those. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, probably for me, still the best American author.
Uh-huh.
I just think that he had such a great balance of interesting themes. The quality of the writing itself was fantastic. And just like just a very well balanced writer in general.
Yeah.
Wrote about a lot of kind of similar things throughout his works, but different enough that each one is pretty interesting, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's what makes his work so strong, is there is this kind of thematic link between all of it.
Yeah.
Without it being the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
So I think you can't overlook that.
Yeah. And he's one of the authors that I would probably like to read everything he wrote.
Yeah.
Right now I kind of just like, I'll try to read one a year at least. So, and this year was Grapes of Wrath. I had somehow made it this far without reading Grapes of Wrath. And obviously it's a fantastic book. 1963 was Giorgio Stefferi from Greece. Not familiar with him. 1964, Jean-Paul Sartre, the philosopher. I've definitely read some of his essays. I don't even know. Did he write books?
Yeah.
Did he?
I think so.
Did he? All right, let's see here.
The Wall and No Exit were fiction, weren't they?
I don't know.
I think they were.
So novels and short story collections: Nausea, The Wall, The Roads to Freedom, and that was broken down to 4 different works. And then he wrote a bunch of plays, screenplays, And then I'm most familiar with his philosophy,
Right.
the essays. But he had
Was No Exit a play?
yes.
Okay.
No Exit was a play. I have not read any of. Have you read any of them?
No.
This is fiction.
I have a copy of The Wall somewhere.
Okay. It says here allegations of sexual abuse. 1993, the French author Bianca Lamblin wrote in her book Memoirs of a bunch of French words I'm not going to pronounce. Memoirs of a Deranged Young Girl, published in English under the title A Disgraceful Affair, outlined the allegations of sexual exploitation by Sartre and Beauvais. Oh, wow.
I am unfortunately
Beauvoir.
not shocked by that.
No, not from him. Okay.
Unfortunately, you could probably pick a name out of a hat of a large number of prominent male authors, writers, philosophers, whatever, from that like mid 20th century or early 20th century.
Yeah.
And I would not necessarily be shocked.
Yeah.
Not so much because of, well, certainly because of the presumed character of those people, but also just, unfortunately, like things were different during that time period.
Power dynamics between men and women for sure. Were very different.
Not to like try to justify any of their actions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like something that memoir was published in the late 90s, things that in the 90s and up to current day would be considered sexual abuse or sexual exploitation, misconduct, whatever, probably were not considered that in 1950, 60, whatever.
Yeah.
So, someone like Sartre might have just been looked at as like a womanizer.
Yeah.
And then you go with a more modern lens, like, no, actually, he was a pervert.
Yeah. Yeah. 1965, Mikhail Sholokhov from the Soviet Union. That name's familiar to me, but I have not read anything from him.
Yeah.
1966 had two winners, Shmuel Yosef Agnon from Israel and Neely Sachs from West Germany / Sweden. The former being a novelist and the latter being a poet.
Interesting.
Miguel Angel Asturias from Guatemala for 1967. Not familiar with that name, are you?
Neither am I.
I'll have to look that up because I haven't read anything from Guatemala yet. So, 1968, Yasunori Kawabata, and I believe this is the first Japanese author on the list. This might be the first Asian author on the list. Oh no, there was somebody from India earlier. I have not read anything from Kawabata yet, but I have, I think, 2 of his books on my to-read list. Oh, I have Snow Country. Oh, and I have The Master of Go by him.
Okay.
Snow Country is his most famous novel.
Yeah.
It's considered kind of like must-read Japanese literature. 1969 was Samuel Beckett from Ireland, the famous postmodernist. Have you read anything from Beckett yet?
I've not.
I have the play Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
But I have not read it yet. I
think it's like 3 novels or whatever. It's like a compendium. But I haven't read it yet. The Malloy trilogy.
Okay. I think it was Beckett that quite famously when he won the Nobel, they did an interview with him.
Yeah.
And it was just him staring at the camera like
Awesome.
he refused to speak.
Awesome.
I
have not read Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
My only real knowledge of it is there's an episode of It's Always Sunny.
Oh, really?
Where they basically like spoof Waiting for Godot.
Oh, really? Okay.
The gang goes and plays laser tag. And there supposedly is some player on the opposing team.
Yeah.
It's like just a domineering force. And they're like strategizing how to overcome him.
Yeah.
And then he just never shows up.
That's amazing. I need to watch that. I've never, like Jeff, I've never watched like a full season of that show.
My God.
I know.
I love it so much.
People do love it. And from what I've seen of it, it is quite funny. 1970, Alexander Solzhenitsyn quite famously wrote what you mentioned earlier, Day in the Life of Ivan Da Silva.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Gulag Archipelago.
Yep.
Among other things.
Yeah. 1917, he has a book called
The Secret Circle, The Full Circle, something, The Circle.
He lived in Vermont for a time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He scampered out of the Soviet Union, hid out in Vermont for a while.
I wonder why he would want to leave Soviet Russia.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it seemed like a great time. 1971, Pablo Neruda from Chile, the famous poet. I have read some of his poetry.
I've read a handful.
I think he's kind of like one of those poets that kind of gets lumped in with like, oh, teenage girls love his poetry type of thing. But I thought
he did write a lot of
like love poems. Yeah. But obviously quite good.
There's also a lot of political stuff too.
Yeah. 1972.
One of my favorite, like I said, I haven't read a ton of, but one that really stood out to me was, I think it's like an ode to the Solar Army or something like that. That was a really good one.
Okay. 1972, Heinrich Boll from West Germany. 1973, Patrick White from Australia.
Huh.
Ever heard of him?
I've heard the name, I think.
Let's look up his works. It's hard. Like, that's such a generic name. No offense to any Patrick Whites out there. But it's like, have I heard of this guy?
I don't know the title of, I don't know any of his works. I just feel like I've heard the name when I was like listening to a podcast about like Gerald Murnane, who is an Australian author.
Yeah.
And then something comes up about other prominent Australian authors.
He wrote a book called The Tree of Man, which I have heard of, but I don't own it or have not read it. So I don't recognize any of these other titles, but 1974 had two winners, both from Sweden, Avon Johnson and Harry Martinson. Don't know either of those gents.
Nope.
75 was Eugenio Montale from Italy. 1976 was Saul Bellow. I have a few of Saul's books. I haven't read any of them yet.
I have one. I don't remember which one.
Yeah. Obviously, very famous author. And somebody commented on something the other day and said like he was the last great American author. And I was like, oh, okay. That's a take. 1977, Vicente Alexandre from Spain. Any idea?
No, not a clue.
78 was Isaac Bashevis Singer from Poland / the U.S. I'm not familiar with him at all. It's a little surprising to me that like we're this late into the list and there's like names on here where I straight up haven't even heard of the person.
Yeah. From my scrolling that I did briefly this morning, I think it should be changing soon. As far as like our recognition, I think once it hit like the early 80s, I started to recognize a lot more names.
Yeah. 1979, Odysseus Eltis from Greece. Not familiar with that. 1980, Kreslav Milosh from Poland. Doesn't ring a bell. 81, Elias Canetti from the UK / Bulgaria. This guy's got a sick mustache and hairdo.
Nice.
I wish I looked like that. I'm not even lying.
Right?
That guy's got swag. Haven't read any of his books, though. Maybe I'll go check them out. Okay. 1982. Gabriel Garcia Marquez from Colombia.
There we go.
Yeah. Obviously, we're both big fans of 100 Years of Solitude. I have yet to read anything else from him, though. Have you?
I've read Love in the Time of Cholera.
How did you like that?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Had far less of an effect on me than 100 Years of Solitude did.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
Cool.
It's Marquez, so the writing was obviously fantastic.
Yeah.
But I would say the narrative didn't move the needle as much.
Yeah.
There were times where I kind of felt like the the male protagonist was a little bit creepy, I think.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, it was love in the time of cholera.
Yeah, I mean,
so-
you know, you're pining after someone for decades, so
Yeah.
it's hard to not come off as creepy at times, I suppose.
Yeah. 1983, somebody who can go themselves, William Golding from the United Kingdom. He wrote Lord of the Flies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That book.
Yeah, it's like you read it as a young person, you're like, whoa, this is so good. And then you grow up and you're like, this is stupid.
No, I remember reading that as a freshman in high school and thinking it was stupid.
Oh, okay. Well, you were more advanced than I was, I guess.
I shouldn't. Advanced is probably a little generous. I was an angsty teen that
Sure.
didn't want. I didn't read it like under my own volition. It was assigned.
Right, of course.
And I was just like, this book is fucking dumb. Why are we reading? Like,
Yeah, it's interesting because people hold it up as this like stark warning of the
yeah,
darkness within all of humanity. And sure, like, I guess human beings have a propensity to be bad at times and do vile things in the name of survival. However, we have survived as a species for so long. Like the conditions in which the characters of Lord of the Flies were existing was fairly representative of most of humanity's existence. And so this idea that it would just kind of fall into barbarism.
right.
And what's interesting to me, as we spoke about in the last episode, was you have Endurance by Alfred Lansing, which is the story of people being thrown into a very similar situation as Lord of
Right.
the Flies and using their collaboration to survive. And just pointing this out, one is a work of fiction and one actually happened. And when you kind of read a little bit more about William Golding, you're just like, he was like a drunkard English teacher. Like, I don't know. Whatever. That's my rant. Another Tony hot take. 1984, Jaroslav Seifert from Czechoslovakia. Not familiar with him. 1985, my boy Claude Simon from France. He wrote The Flanders Road that I read earlier this year.
Okay.
That's the only book I've read from him. It's tough for me to recommend that book because I did like it and the writing is like unreal, but it
Yeah.
is so hard to read.
Okay.
So confusing.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Can't
So
recommend that one to a non-reader.
yeah, if you're looking to dip your toes back into some fiction, probably not a good place to start. But quite unlike anything else I've ever read, I'll say.
Okay, that's good.
And but I'm a little bit hesitant to read more from him simply because he was part of the Nouveau Roman whatever movement, and their whole thing was like every work is distinctly different stylistically from the other works that they've written.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, okay, I like this, but am I going to like the other stuff that you wrote? So I had no idea that he was a Nobel winner, though, when I read
Pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah. 1986, Wole Soyinka from Nigeria. I think this is the first like truly African author
I
on
think
the
so,
list.
too. I don't remember any
yeah.
others from.
I'm not familiar with his work though. Joseph Brodsky, 1987, from the U.S. / the Soviet Union. 1988, Naguib Mahfouz from Egypt. He wrote the Palace Walk trilogy, I believe, which I have the first book, but I have not read anything from him yet. Whoa, he wrote a lot of books. Holy crap. Yeah, he wrote Palace Walk, the Cairo trilogy, as
Okay.
it's called. So he's my slated author for Egypt as I read my way around the world, but I have yet to get to it. But I've heard it's fantastic. 1989, Camilo Jose Cela from Spain. I also have one of his books. Have you read anything from him?
No, I don't think I've even heard the name.
I'm pretty sure. I want to say NYRB published one of his books, and that's the one I have. But this list is hard to. It's not really well formatted, so we'll come back to that. 1990, your boy, Octavio Paz, the poet.
My boy.
I thought you were a big Octavio Paz fan since you read Savage Detectives.
I've read one of his books.
Which
or I don't even remember which one. It was I think I probably grabbed a book of his I think it was probably when we were at the Five Colleges book sale or something like that. And I was like, oh, New Directions. Cool.
Yeah.
And then after reading Savage Detectives, and I was like, oh, I'll read this. And
he features heavily in that.
Yeah.
Well, he's a fictionalized version of, but they must have known each other in real life, right?
Probably, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's not looked at very favorably in that novel.
Right.
I'm curious what Bolaño's actual opinions are of him.
Yeah. 1991 was Nadine Gordimer from South Africa. I'm not familiar with her. Are you?
No.
1992, Derek Walcott from St. Lucia.
I've heard the name.
Doesn't ring any bells for me. But I'll have to look that up because I don't have anything on my list for St. Lucia. 1993, Toni Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Quite deserving, obviously.
Yes.
I started listening to Beloved on audiobook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's narrated by Toni Morrison. Everyone
that's cool.
says the narration's very good, which it is. But I was listening. I forget which app I was using, but I was trying a different app because I didn't want to use Audible. And I was like very confused. I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on here. And then I looked and like the files, like the chapters were out of order.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I need to like get this sorted.
Yeah.
And I just haven't gone back to it. But we read Song of Solomon for the book club. And I think everyone enjoyed that. And I could see why she's such a
Definitely deserving.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's the thing is too about Toni Morrison is like, I haven't read a ton of her work, but I've literally never heard anyone say anything bad about any of the books.
Right.
And that's uncommon.
Right. I think kind of falls into a similar vein as what I was saying about Steinbeck earlier.
Yeah.
There's enough of a difference, but there's still that thematic link between all of her work that just strengthens everything.
Yeah, and it's different too. Like you see this a lot with people that served in the military in a big conflict like Vietnam or something like that, where a lot of times these authors are just writing about literally the same thing over and over again. And I get it. Like it was obviously a huge part of their lives and probably very traumatic,
Right.
but okay.
Yeah.
But like Toni Morrison, you could probably make the case like, okay, maybe all of them are linked by the theme of racism in America, but they're very distinct stories.
Definitely.
So, 1994, Kenzaburo Oe from Japan. I have just one of his books that I've yet to read. 1995, Seamus Heaney from Ireland. 1996, Wilsalva Szymborska from Poland. We were supposed to be knowing more of these people as we got along.
Yeah, we are not well read at all.
Not for Nobel Prize winners, apparently. 1997, Dario Fo from Italy. Don't know. 1998, a name that we both will know, but I don't know if you might have read one of his books. Saramago from Portugal.
I have not read any of his books.
Oh, really?
But I know the name for sure.
I have Blindness.
So do I.
And I have The Siege of Lisbon.
Okay.
By him. Obviously, I mean, arguably Portugal's most famous writer.
Yeah.
And I was going to read Blindness, but then I got this Antunes book for Portugal. And I mean, I'll still read them, but that was like, I had him slated for a while. 1999, Günter Grass from Germany. Have you read anything from him?
No.
Oh. I haven't either, but he's quite famous.
Yeah, I feel like I see his books like everywhere I go.
Yeah. Waffen SS Revelations. What is this? In an August 2006, in an interview to the Frankfurter Zeitung about his forthcoming book, Peeling the Onion, Grass said that he had been a member of the Waffen SS in World War II. Okay.
Nice.
Before that, he was thought to have been a typical member of the Flockhelfer generation. Our German book club members are going to laugh their asses off at my pronunciations here. One of those too young to see much fighting or be involved in the Nazi regime beyond its youth organizations. On August 15th, 2006, Spiegel Online published 3 1946 documents from U.S. forces verifying Grass's Waffen-SS membership. Okay. Kind of wild that they gave a Waffen-SS member the Nobel Prize. But I guess this was found out in the 2000s and he won in 1999.
Okay.
So wild. And he only recently passed in 2015. 2000, Gao Zhijian from France/China. I think this is the first Chinese author on this list. I'm not familiar with his works. I know you are not. You're not super big on the Chinese literature. Sorry, Panda just made a weird noise.
No, I know. Staring right at me.
2000, V.S. Naipaul.
Ah.
I was like, what? Yeah. Now I understand why he abbreviates the first two. Most English speakers are probably going to have a hard time with that. I have not read any V.S. Naipaul, but I have Escor recommended it to us. A House for Miss Biswas is what it is. And Miguel Street. I have both of those.
Gotcha.
But yeah, very famous Trini author. 2002, Imre Kertész from Hungary. Not familiar with him. 2003, J.M. Coetzee from South Africa. I've not read anything from him other than his introduction and translator's note for A Posthumous Confession by Marcella Simons.
Okay.
But I have Waiting for the Barbarians by him.
All right.
Which I guess, I don't know if it was inspired by or is very similar to The Stronghold.
Gotcha.
That you didn't love.
Yeah.
Slash the Tartar Steppe, as it's also known. And I have Disgrace. I have a copy of that, which I think is kind of his most famous work.
I think I have one of his books. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you the title. I might not even have it anymore. Who knows?
2004 was Elfriede Jelinek from Austria. Not familiar with her.
I've heard of her.
Okay.
I think, I don't know if it was a new translation or finally got translated. I'm pretty sure Children of the Dead. Is that her?
Let's look.
Something like that.
Publications. Oh, yeah. Children of the Dead.
Okay.
Yep.
So like I said, I don't know if it was a new translation, a new edition, or if it was just finally translated into English, but that came out recently.
Yeah, 2024.
Yeah.
It was originally published in 1995. So
Okay.
cool. It's a pretty sweet novel title, Children of the Dead.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good. I was interested in it. I mean, I still am. I think around the time it came out, I was at the bookstore and it was, only available in hardcover. And I was like, I'm not interested enough.
Yeah.
I can wait until the paperback comes out.
Not interested enough to suffer with a hardcover.
Pay an extra $10 for a format I don't like to read.
Right. 2005, Harold Pinter from United Kingdom. I'm not familiar with his work. 2006 was Orhan Pamuk from Turkey. I forget the name of the book. It's been on my list for a while, and I always end up finding a copy of it or that's just in terrible condition.
Yeah.
Or a bunch of his other books that don't interest me as much as the one I've been looking for. But I've heard he's fantastic. 2007, Doris Lessing. Have you read anything from her?
I don't think so.
I haven't either.
I've definitely heard of her.
Yeah, she's very highly regarded. 2008, Jean-Marie Gustave Le Clézio from France.
Doesn't ring a bell.
2009, Herté Müller from Germany. 2010, Mario Vargas Llosa from Peru.
There we go.
So I read Death in the Andes by him. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Somebody, who was it? Somebody posted the other day that they read. Oh no, somebody in the club asked what we had thought of The War at the End of the World.
Yeah.
And a bunch of us were like, oh, we haven't read it yet. And they were like, don't bother. So
Really?
I was kind of surprised by that.
I was maybe a quarter, maybe a third into that. And then pesky tumor situation.
Oh, that was another
Yeah.
tumor TKO, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was definitely enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I think just because of how excited you were about Death in the Andes.
Yeah.
I might have had a little bit too high of expectations.
Sure.
And maybe it wasn't living up to that arbitrary standard I had set. But I was definitely enjoying it. Not deep enough into it to confirm or deny that person saying don't bother.
Yeah.
But
we're into the 2000s. 2012 was Mo Yan from China. This year I started Red Sorghum by him.
Uh-huh.
And I would say it was good. I read maybe a little over a third of it. And I didn't dislike it, but I just was like not in the mood to
Gotcha.
read what it was about.
Yeah.
It's about political strife in China and people getting killed, and I was just like, I can't. I think I read it off the back of Matterhorn by Karl Marlantes, which is about the Vietnam War, and I was just like, I need a break from terrible things happening to people.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but he is a very highly acclaimed Chinese author. 2013, Alice Munro. Have you read anything from her?
No.
She obviously recently passed away. Quite a bit of controversy about her. Was something to do with her daughter, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe it was Monroe's husband, not the father,
Gotcha.
was
Like abusing the kid or
abusing
something.
the kid or something,
Yeah.
like the daughter or something like that.
That's
and
too bad.
Monroe was kind of just like, shut
Yeah.
up.
Okay. Healthy. Good. 2014, Patrick Modiano from France. Not familiar with that.
Nope.
2015 is Svetlana Alexievich from Belarus. I think I have 2 of her books that I've yet to read. Oh, no, I don't have this book, but it is on my shopping list. The Unwomanly Face of War, an oral history of women in World War II.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's nonfiction, obviously, but yeah. Okay, moving on. Geez, we are not big on Nobel Prize here.
No, wow.
2016, a very controversial pick, Bob Dylan. I've listened to his music.
Yeah.
So I guess that counts.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever sat down and like read the lyrics sheet.
I definitely haven't.
He's fine. 2017, Kazuo Ishiguro from the UK, which I have read Never Let Me Go.
Uh-huh.
And I have a couple of his other books that I've yet to get to, but have you read anything from him?
I don't believe so.
He's good. His book, the one about the butler, Remains of the Day, 1989. I've heard that described as the perfect British novel.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and it's funny, I'm in a bunch of just like stupid Facebook groups for books, and one of them is Japanese literature.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined them initially to be like, oh, maybe I'll get ideas for like content or podcasts, or maybe it'll be good book recommendations. But all of the groups very much are like what we were talking about earlier, where people will kind of go to that first line of like the prominent works and never really go beyond it.
Right.
So in the American literature group I'm in, everyone just talks about Hemingway and Steinbeck, which is fine. They're good authors. And then the Japanese literature is very similar. It's like Kawabata that we talked about earlier and Oe. But somebody like posted about Kazuo Ishiguro, and it's like, I get like he was technically born in Japan and he is like ethnically Japanese, but the guy's British.
Right.
He speaks English perfectly. He has a British accent.
Yeah.
He writes in English. There's nothing Japanese about his literature other than the fact that he is ethnically Japanese.
Right.
And so this big kind of like argument like busted out in the comments about it. And I was like, oh, Facebook groups.
Yeah.
2018, Olga Tokarczuk from Poland. So I've read Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, which was okay. You have read anything from her?
I have not read anything
Okay.
from her. I have a copy of the Books of Jacob,
Yep.
which I think was the big work that really pushed her to getting that award.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
at least from what I've heard about those two books, Drive Your Plow and Books of Jacob, there's certainly more. I don't know if substance is the right way to put it, but there's a lot to the Books of Jacob. It has a lot to say about
Yeah.
the world, and
It's a huge book,
Yeah,
too,
it's
isn't
like almost 1,000 pages, I think.
Yeah. I've heard from people that really like her work and have read a lot of it that even like Tokarczuk fans felt like Drive Your Plow is kind of a little more, I don't know, want to say commercial. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But just a little bit more like pop fiction-esque.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it, but it didn't like blow me away.
Right.
So Peter Handke from Austria for 2019. I see people talking about his work a lot, but I've never read anything from him. Have you?
No.
2020, Louise Gluck from the United States. I'm not familiar with her. Are you? Oh, Andy has a book.
I do.
Look at that. And this
The
is
collected poems.
Oh,
of,
okay.
It's not everything she ever wrote, but it's
It only took us an hour and 20 minutes for you to have a book.
1962 to 2012. This was really good. I really liked it.
So she wrote poetry and essays. She was not a novelist.
I believe she has a novel,
Okay.
or novella or something,
Sure.
but primarily poetry. Yeah. This was really great. I feel like we talked about her when we had Seth and Dave on
Okay.
to do our poetry episode. I know she came up. I do remember way back when I posted something on Instagram, like looking for poetry recommendations. And it might have been Seth.
Wow, she was really pretty. Hey, we commented on the men.
I know.
So
I know.
I don't want to leave
But-
out the ladies.
Someone had recommended one of her books. There's an edition out. I think it's like first 4 books or something like that. It's literally just a collected works of the first 4
Yeah.
books of poetry that she wrote. So I got a copy of that. I really liked it, and I saw this at the bookstore, and I grabbed it, and it was a good one. Just kind of like read a few poems here and there, and just kind of chip away at it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Cool. I'll have to grab a copy. Because I read that Jack Gilbert collection that I got.
Yeah,
And I enjoyed it, but then I was like, okay.
yeah.
And I kind of haven't thought about poetry since, so I don't want to let Dave and Seth down. 2021 was Abdulrazak Gurnah from Tanzania / the UK. I have his book Gravel Heart, but I have yet to read it. But I heard he's a fantastic writer.
Yeah, I think I've definitely heard the name.
Yeah. 2022, Annie Ernaux from France. Whoo, look at this guy.
Damn.
Look at this guy.
I've got A Frozen Woman, published by our good friends at 7 Stories Press.
Yeah, they publish a lot of her stuff.
They publish, I think, all of her work.
Cool.
I believe, I don't know if they still do, but I know they sold like a box set.
Oh, nice.
Because most of her work is pretty short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly liked this. It kind of falls in that like weird gray zone that we've talked about before when it comes to sort of like reading diversely or reading outside of like your life experience.
Yeah.
The writing itself was great, but it's about more or less about a woman that kind of grapples with her sense of identity after getting married and then having children.
Oh, right. I think we talked about this on our diversity episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So in theory, it's a good idea to read things about life experiences that you will never live to get that kind of understanding
Yeah.
of what other people are going through or whatever. But at the same time, like I didn't really relate to it,
Sure.
which is sort of the point, I think.
Yeah.
But it also, I didn't end up like connecting with it. But certainly fantastic writing. So
Yeah.
worth reading.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to know what it's like to give birth, get a kidney stone.
No.
The worst pain I've ever felt.
Yeah. I don't think I need to do that, but
I threw up and almost passed out from the pain on the way to the hospital. And when I got there, they hit me with 3 doses of Dilaudid. And they were like, we cannot give you any more. Like, this is it.
wow.
And the doctor said, don't feel bad about being in so much pain. Like, people have compared it to giving birth without any medication. And the nurse goes, I've had kids and kidney stones. Kidney stones are worse.
Golly.
And I've heard, and I don't know why anatomically this might be, but supposedly for men, kidney stones are even more painful than for women.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's actually factual, but I've heard that. So don't recommend it. Stay hydrated, kids. 2023, Jan
Fosse, whatever. Got a Shining.
Whatever this guy's name is. Who is he anyway?
A Shining and Septology.
Yep.
Both of these 2 editions are by our good friends at Transit Books.
They just sent me his new one.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
sweet.
What is it called? It's upstairs, I think.
Vame.
Yes, that
like
sounds
that.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to read that.
Yeah, I'm probably going to start with that because I don't have any of his other books, and it's fairly short. And
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Septology was awesome. A Shining was good.
Yeah.
I've read, I think it's Mornings and Evenings, by him as well. That was fine. But Septology was awesome. It's funny. I've talked about it before. Like, he doesn't really use any punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a full stop until the end of the book.
For which work?
Septology.
Okay. And that's not a short book.
Correct.
Okay.
But it flows very well. It reads very easily. There's nothing like crazy as far as difficulty and complexity about the prose outside of the lack of punctuation.
Sure, yeah.
But it's got this kind of like hypnotic, haunting effect to it.
Yeah.
And I read it while I was quarantining with COVID. So I essentially just like didn't put it down for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So that kind of effect just like compounded. I just like locked myself in a room and just powered through that book.
So loosely, like, what's it about?
So it's about a painter who, and there's a lot of like religious themes to it, who kind of encounters like almost like a doppelganger of himself. And as he's kind of going in and out of town, he also sees this this couple that kind of reminds him of himself and I believe, an ex-partner at a younger age, and just kind of sort of like reminiscing on all the different ways his life could have gone. And it's fantastic.
I mean, just the premise sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, nice. Maybe I'll have to pick that one up as well. Okay, we only have a couple left here. So, Hong Kong, which you've yet to read any of.
Correct.
I've read Human Acts by her, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a book I talk about quite a bit. She's probably most well known for, at least in the U.S., The Vegetarian. But I mean, just based on that one work, I was not shocked that she won.
Right.
I thought it was well written, interesting, like stylistically quite different from most everything I've ever read. Touches on, I would say, a pretty significant event.
Right.
So it's funny. We had Max Lawton on for the podcast, and obviously there was some commentary after the fact, and people kind of criticizing Max's translations, which was not that existed before we had him on.
Right.
I don't want to make it sound like we were the catalyst, but it certainly like drummed up more
Right.
conversation around that topic. And then I was looking at having trying to get Deborah Smith on the podcast, who's translated quite a bit of Hong Kong's works. We're just having some logistical issues with that because she's in the UK and time zones and all that stuff. But I was just reading her Wikipedia page just so I could be a more informed interviewer. And there was some backlash about her translation of The Vegetarian. And what's funny to me about that is Hong Kong herself put her stamp of approval on it.
Right.
And it's like, if the author's okay with it, guys, like,
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. Yeah. So obviously, when you only speak one language and you are reading works in translation, you are a bit at the mercy of the translator, and you don't really have a super great reference of whether or not it's a good translation or not.
Right.
But I believe who had said it? Somebody said that Edwin from the editor from NYRB says a great book will survive a bad translation. So
I believe that.
yeah. And finally, 2025 recently announced Laszlo Krasznahorkai from Hungary, which you have a whole big old stack.
Yes. I only brought. I considered bringing all of the Laz Kraz that I own.
Yep.
And then as I was scrolling through the list, I was like, well, I have more. Have read more winners than I realized.
Yeah.
Behoove me to bring some of those and not just 9 books by Krasznahorkai.
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Not that I like going through a big list like that. Obviously, it's a little bit time consuming, and I hate to be like, oh, don't know that one. Just keep moving. It gets a little tedious, but I did think it was just a good exercise to go through and take stock of what we actually have read. Obviously, I don't know off the top of my head everyone that you've read,
right,
and vice versa. And also, I do like an opportunity because whenever we have these conversations, our fantastic audience always chimes in and says, actually, you should read this person and that book by them. And so I like to do it for my own kind of selfish reasons. But so are these all the ones that you have read from Laszlo?
I have read 2 or 3 more.
Okay.
Of his. These are the kind of the Apocalypse Quartet.
Okay.
Kind of his one uber novel,
sure,
as he refers to it. So Satan Tango, Melancholy of Resistance, War and War, and Baron Venkheim's Homecoming.
And is that the order that they were published?
In the original Hungarian, yes.
Okay. But they were translated out of order.
Yes.
Okay.
Melancholy of Resistance was the first book to be published into English.
Okay.
And then came Satan Tango, then War and War, and then Baron Venkheim. And
so
I have to look. I believe some of his books, like he had other books published in between. It wasn't just these 4 in a row.
Sure. Yep. But those are all kind of thematically linked.
Yeah, I think he even says, let's see.
Try to stay on that mic if you can.
Oh, yeah. So this is from the inside cover of Baron Venkheim. Now, with Baron Venkheim's Homecoming, I can close this story. With this novel, I can prove that I really wrote just one book in my life. This is the book. Satan Tango, Melancholy of Resistance, War and War, and Baron Venkheim's Homecoming. This is my one book.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
question that somebody dropped to me, which I'm not qualified to answer. Which book would you recommend starting with for Laszlo Krasznahorkai?
I mean, because of what I just read,
yep.
I would probably recommend starting with Satan Tango.
Yeah.
But he is also very much one of those authors that, like, I think if you want to read him, you can just pick up a book.
Yeah.
I didn't bring Hersht 067, whatever
Yep.
the postal code is. I didn't bring that with me. But
I saw somebody say this week that that's his most approachable work. And I was like, I don't know. From what I've heard, I don't know if that's true, but
it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
I think if you've read any Krasnohorkai, it'll probably be approachable.
it's just one sentence, right? The whole book?
More or less.
Yeah.
Which is how a lot of his work is.
Okay.
I thought that Hirsch was a very good book. It received a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
Some of it I think is fair in the sense that it felt very formulaic to compared to his other works. Like he kept it felt very like similar in terms of the thematic approach, the pacing of the narrative, how things moved. Just changed narrative set pieces. But again, as far as like where to start with him, if you walk into the bookstore and you're like, oh, I really want to read Laszlo Krasnohorkai, and you walk in and Hirsch is the only one they have, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think if you really want to like dive into his work, I would probably recommend starting with either Satan Tango or Melancholy of Resistance. And again, if you read Satan Tango, just go up the chain from there.
Right.
That is the order I read these four in.
What's crazy is his books basically sold out immediately after he was announced as the winner.
What I imagine that is New Directions pulling them so they can put out Nobel Prize winner editions.
Yes, which I don't know if you saw the conversation in the Discord about that.
I don't think I did. Maybe part of it.
So pull that book up out of your stack.
Any of them?
No, Satan Tango. Sorry, I didn't specify.
Yeah.
So there's this gap right here
Yeah.
in the cover design
Yeah.
where a Nobel Prize winner sticker would work great.
Yep.
They slapped a big one right on the corner here and covered up
His name.
his name.
That's dumb.
And it's like, I mean, I love New Directions. They're a fantastic publisher. They've been around forever. They publish so many incredible books.
Yeah.
But what the
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm pissed too because I have Melancholy of Resistance and Baron Venkheim's Homecoming, but I wanted to start with this one, and I was like, oh, I should go grab one of these now. It'd be a good time to read it.
Yeah.
And then of course,
Right.
now they're already shipping with the sticker on it, or
Yeah.
it's not a sticker. It's actually printed on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? So
That's dumb.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fantastic author. I think more than deserving of the award.
Yeah.
I'm in a couple of group chats that we were kind of speculating about who might win.
Yeah.
I think he was my kind of pick, or my pick. Certainly other authors that are deserving. I mean, I know, obviously I'm a huge Thomas Pynchon fan.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people out there that think he should win.
I thought it would be him just because he's got a new book out. They got the movie out that's based on Vineland or inspired by Vineland.
Yeah.
He's getting up there in years. So
Here's the thing, though.
it's been it's been a few years since it's been an American winner.
Here's the thing, though. As much as I think the quality of his work is deserving of the award, it would be almost a disservice, I think, to the Nobel Prize. I mean, there's certainly more asked of the winner in terms of it's not just, I'm not familiar with all of it, but it's not just like one award dinner
Right.
and you go and collect it. There's other engagements beyond that. And when Thomas Pynchon won the National Book Award for Gravity's Rainbow, he sent
look at that. An hour and 40 minutes in the first Gravity's Rainbow mention.
he sent a comedian and a streaker
Right.
in his place to accept the award on his behalf.
Yeah.
That just,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I get it.
I'm I don't mean to get down on my knees for the sanctity of the Nobel Prize, but like, could you imagine if at an awards banquet for the Nobel Prize, some guy walked up on stage with a paper bag over his head,
Right.
and then during his acceptance speech, some other dude ran by naked behind him?
Yeah. Yeah. I still think Don DeLillo can't be topped. Sorry, I can't be here tonight. And it's him saying that in person. Yeah.
So, and I think at the same time, like, Pynchon is obviously very much one of those authors that's like, I'm going to put the work out and let the work speak for itself.
Yeah.
And then if you give him an award like the Nobel Prize, the expectation is that him, or at the very least other people, are going to be coming out to speak on behalf of the work.
Right.
And
yeah, that makes sense.
So, well, he's, in my opinion, deserving of it. It would be very antithetical to the just kind of his approach to literature as a whole and what's expected of a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
So
it's a good point. I think it's funny because Hearst was the book that Brodernism article was dogging, right? And then obviously that article itself was quite controversial. And then now, hey, in your face, this guy just won the Nobel Prize. I think that's kind of funny.
Absolutely. And we talked about it when we did our episode, kind of talking about that article.
Yeah.
It was a half-baked review of Hearst, and then a hit piece on people that like kind of obscure translated literature.
Yeah.
And I think if they were kind of separated, it might not have been as controversial.
Yeah.
I think it came from a point of like, oh, there's a new translation of Krasznahorkai coming out.
Yeah.
And people were excited about that.
Yeah.
And even though it's not his best book, based off of the body of work that came before it, I think it was pretty natural for people to be excited about a new book from him.
Yeah, of course.
And it turned into this whole thing of like, oh, these lit bros want to talk about how this obscure Hungarian author is the greatest thing that's ever existed. And it's like,
he's not that obscure. I mean, you can go to Barnes and Noble and get his books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had Satan Tango in stock in Manchester at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
And somebody bought it before I could get it. But yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny because obviously I didn't care for that review. But well, I certainly have a lot of homework to do after going through the Nobel list. I mean, here's the thing. I think literary prizes are interesting.
Yeah.
I think they make good conversation topics, whether it's on a podcast or just amongst your friends. Excuse me. I don't put that much stock in them, even a big one like the Nobel Prize.
Right.
I think sometimes they get it right and sometimes they're way off the mark.
Right.
The year that Ed Park was nominated for Same Bed, Different Dreams, I can't even recall who the Pulitzer winner was that year, but a lot of people were like, why the f*** did you pick this book?
Right.
And no disrespect to the author. I haven't read it. I know nothing about it.
Right.
I'm just saying kind of the general feedback was people were a little bit surprised.
Right.
And certainly you can go back through very notable literary prizes like the Nobel or like we talked about with Winston Churchill.
Right.
Or Günter Grass.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
I think my general critique of other awards that are more so given to the book and not the author, at least in recent years, there seems to be a little bit more, or they're more so based on who wrote the book than the quality of the book. did this book win because it was a very good book? I don't want that to sound too critical, because I absolutely think it's good and it's important that those authors are getting recognition and those stories are being told, so that people that are living those life experiences can read something that they relate to.
Yeah.
Um,
and for other reasons too.
Right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely. I just think sometimes maybe it has more of an effect on the decision process than it should. I mean, we did an episode on American Fiction.
Right.
Go watch that movie, and
Yeah.
then I think you'll see a lot of that in a lot of like modern day awards.
Yeah, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang kind of touched on a similar thing. And to be honest, though, I mean, the publishing industry kind of did it to itself,
Yes.
where you ignored people that weren't white dudes for so long.
That we got to make up for lost time. And then
there probably is like a kind of inherent pressure to be like, oh, we should really try to diversify.
But then some of the awards end up becoming kind of watered down, in my opinion.
I mean, it's tough, right? Because I don't like to think of it that way, because then you're kind of implying that there wasn't a good, not white male author to choose from.
Fair.
But I do think that maybe like sometimes you missed the person that was the right pick, and now they're not really in the, they passed on, they're not writing anymore, whatever. They're not really in the conversation. So it would be weird to, or especially with yearly book awards, that's true.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows what the actual voting and choice process looks like for something like the Nobel. Like there's a lot of stuff on their website that they kind of like say what they look at, but who the hell even knows? And then there's people that kind of like publish the odds for the short list, and you're just like, well, how do you calculate that?
Right.
Maybe there's information about how that's done, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, I guess my point was like, it's the type of thing where if you are looking for an interesting reading project, like you could do worse than, I'll just read Nobel Prize winners,
For sure.
or Pulitzer winners. But also at the same time, I don't think people should feel like obligated.
Yeah.
I have to read this because they won a Nobel Prize. Ultimately, it's just somebody out saying what they think is good.
Yeah.
And you can leave it up to yourself what you think is good, or somebody, another reader that, or group of readers that you have a much more personal relationship and understand their tastes and critiques much better than a random committee. So, but there's, I think maybe combined, we've read maybe a dozen and a half authors on this list.
Yeah.
So I'll have to go back, especially those early years. So if you guys have any recommendations, please drop them below, and join us next week when we will be talking about books.